What is happening, everybody? James Hancock here, and back to review the latest big-budget movie adaptation of a popular video game franchise, a Minecraft movie from director Jared Hess, also starring Jason Momoa and Jack Black. And once upon a time, Jared Hess used to direct pretty cool comedies. He directed Napoleon Dynamite. Admittedly, that was over 20 years ago, but that movie was funny as fucking shit. So I know full well that Jared Hess knows how to make a good movie, but a Minecraft movie, surprise, surprise, was not to my taste. And you might be thinking to yourself, there's no way you went to see that movie expecting to have a positive experience. And yeah, guilty as charged. I went to see a Minecraft movie because I heard a rumor that there was going to be this lengthy extended preview for James Gunn's Superman movie. Of course, he immediately posted it on Twitter like 5 seconds later. I could have saved myself a trip to the theater and just watched it online. And for like 15 or 20 seconds, I got legitimate chills as I was looking at Crypto playing with Superman and jumping around on him as he's injured and like, ow, ow, ow. It was precious and it was adorable. Was it worth walking to a movie and slapping down like $25 to see a Minecraft movie? No, but for once again, for a brief shining moment, I was enjoying myself, which is saying something. And with the benefit of hindsight, I probably should have just walked out of the movie after the preview, much like people did back in 1999 when they bought a ticket to see Meet Joe Black just to see the trailer for Star Wars The Phantom Menace. But as far as a Minecraft movie is concerned, I recognize the fact that I'm not a 10-year-old child, and I'm also not a Minecraft player. I love games like Dark Souls and Elden Ring, and basically anything from Software where you're running around beating the crap out of things and or just getting murdered outright. But my taste in gaming is very different. I played Minecraft for like 5 whole seconds when it came out back in 2011. It was an immediate, just overnight phenomenon. It just took the world by storm. And I have some nephews who played it, and I've watched a few YouTube videos just going over the basics. Like, I know enough to know that there's a difference between the Java edition and the Bedrock edition. If you're playing on your Xbox, you're probably playing the Bedrock edition. But if you're playing on a PC, you're probably playing the Java edition, which opens you up to a bunch of different mods. And I know the difference between survival mode versus creative mode, but for a movie that's ostensibly about creativity, and that's what Minecraft's all about, building really, really cool stuff while occasionally monsters come out and try and kill you and that sort of thing. But for a movie that's about creativity and the creative process and where creativity comes from, it's amazing just how little creativity went into this movie. And I'm fully aware of the fact that I'm not the target audience for this movie. They're looking for Minecraft players and or little children that'll convince their parents to drag them and all their friends or their siblings to see a Minecraft movie and, in theory, have a wonderful time at the movies. However, I think this movie fails in the main test that every video game adaptation must pass. Whether you're making a show or a movie, the big question is, I guess there are two tests. The first and foremost, is it more fun to play the game in question for a couple hours or to go see the adaptation? And I can't imagine that any Minecraft player would rather see this movie than play the game itself. And I guess the other test, which is less important, is can it cross over? Can it translate to the unconverted? People who are totally blissfully unaware, like can parents who have never even seen Minecraft on a screen before in any way, shape, or form, can they enjoy it and have a good time alongside their kids? And I would say that it also fails in that respect because this movie has, I won't say it has contempt for the audience, but it definitely looks down upon the audience where it just assumes, oh, well, because the target audience is very young, we can just assume that they have no taste or no attention span or no intelligence. Like, we're operating under the assumption that everybody in the audience got kicked in the head really hard by a mule at one point, and they could just drool onto their bib and just mindlessly, feed on this slop that we're serving up in very expensive fashion. Apparently, the budget of this movie is $150 million, which is yet another reason why I went to see this movie, because I'm very curious about the fate of Warner Brothers. They've been struggling as of late, and they've got a bunch of high-profile movies coming, like Sinners and Superman and One Battle After Another. Was it One War After Another? Anyway, the next P.T. Anderson movie. Warner Brothers is having a high-stakes, potentially high-reward year where Pamela Abdi and Mike DeLuca, who run the film division, may or may not survive the year. But yeah, I guess if you follow the entertainment industry or follow the movie biz or do box office, then you owe it to yourself every once in a while just to do, in the name of research, go see a movie that you know full well in advance you're probably not going to like. And because I'm so completely, totally out of touch and just disconnected from the possible fan base for this movie, if the movie succeeds or fails, I'll be equally not surprised and surprised. I'm just waiting to see what happens, but I'm emotionally I guess, unaffected by the outcome. I've got some nephews who love the game. They even dressed up as Minecraft like characters for Halloween here and there. Maybe they'll care, maybe they won't, but I think a lot of times when people are making movie adaptations of video games, they fail to take into account just how fucking exciting and entertaining a really great game can be. I mean, the games that I like, games like Dark Souls or Elden Ring or Baldur's Gate 3 or whatever the case might be, or a Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, they are so much fucking fun. They'll make your head spin. Like when you're playing this games, you're like, I might just give up watching movies entirely and just play these games for the rest of my life, because they're that stimulating and engaging. And a great game, especially, once again, I'm operating from a point of ignorance, but I'm assuming that when you're playing Minecraft and you're dialed in, it's incredibly stimulating because you're building and crafting nonstop. You're building castles, or you're building fortresses, or you're building your homes, but your mind, it's like, having the world's greatest Lego set with limitless pieces where the only thing holding you back is the power of your imagination. I imagine a child, when they're like mindlessly playing Minecraft, is not mindless at all. If anything, it's probably educational and incredibly stimulating and incredibly just an all-around positive experience. This movie will make you dumber. It'll slow you down. It will, there's some great works of art that enrich your palate. Minecraft does the opposite. Once again, it's the antithesis of storytelling. It's the antithesis of art. And when I say it's the antithesis of storytelling, what I mean is, there are jokes in the movie, but the jokes aren't funny. Or there are dramatic scenes that don't actually emotionally engage the viewer. Or there are action scenes that don't raise your pulse. Or there's all kinds of visual eye candy that's actually not stimulating to the eye. Like all the things that make us want to go see movies and make us fall in love with movies, they're all absent. But they're there in theory, but they're not actually there in practice. It's just slop. It's just content. And the question is, are there enough people that will enjoy this mindless slop where Warner Brothers can possibly sell a couple $100 million worth of tickets? Who knows? But I'll be paying very close attention to the box office on Sunday, because it's like the director, what the hell's his name? Is it Jared Hess? Hang on, I'm blanking. It's like Jared Hess is somehow, either through just the size and scope of the film, or just through intellectual decay of living in Hollywood for too long, he's forgotten all the storytelling basics. And when he made Napoleon Dynamite over 20 years ago, it was one of the funniest movies of that decade. And it's always just very depressing when you see somebody who's capable of that level of entertainment value just becoming yet another cog in the Hollywood machine. So what's missing from a Minecraft movie? I would argue that it's missing just all the storytelling basics, like characters that actually have a pulse. And it's mean to make fun of a child who's getting their first big opportunity in movies, but he'll have to learn to take his licks if he's going to be in big budget movies. But Sebastian Hansen, who plays Henry, I guess he's kind of sort of the lead of the movie, even though Jack Black and Jason Momoa take center stage more often than not. But it's almost like somebody bribed Henry in advance and said, whatever you do, don't deliver your lines with any emotion or heart or feeling, because somebody out in the audience might get a little overstimulated if at any point this movie actually starts to resemble a dramatically compelling story. So just say the words like you just got knocked unconscious and you have no idea where you are, and that'll be just fine. Or with Jack Black, they gave him the reverse direction where they said, pretend like you're having a really good time. Pretend like this is the most amazing movie ever. We know this movie sucks. We know it's soulless. We know it doesn't have a beating heart. But pretend like you're completely, totally psyched every step of the way, and just shake your belly in front of the camera and just scream and act like you're totally psyched and playing air guitar and all that stuff. Like basically doing almost like a parody of your own performances. And we all know that Jack Black can do video game movie adaptations because he was hysterical as Bowser in the Super Mario Brothers movie. And I feel like the Super Mario Brothers movie is one of the best examples of how to do a video game adaptation for the big screen, where different generations of fans were able to enjoy it for whatever reason. I actually had a really good time at Super Mario Brothers. And some might argue that Super Mario Brothers has the benefit of more generations of fans going back to the early 80s. But Minecraft's been around since 2011. You basically have in gaming time, that's an eternity. And I don't know how many players there are worldwide. Let's see. Minecraft worldwide player base. Apparently Minecraft has 204 million monthly active players. I mean, that's 2/3 the size of Netflix, and it's just one game. That is one of the most popular played video games of all time on any platform in any era. I knew Minecraft was a phenomenon. That is fucking astonishing. I mean, to put that in context, like the max streaming platform, I think it's 130 million subscribers, 204 million active players. Well done to whoever designed Minecraft. But I guess that just reinforces my point, because if this movie fails, and once again, I have no idea if this movie is going to fail or succeed. I'm just completely numb to whatever appeal this movie might have. But there might be just hordes of screaming fans out there that have just been, like chomping at the bit, dying to see this movie. But if it does fail, well, then the blame is entirely on the filmmakers, because once again, if you have 204 million active subscribers, imagine if every single one of them bought a movie ticket. I mean, just to do, let's see. 25 times 204. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 204 million. I mean, that would be, $5.1 billion? So yeah, if this movie fails, once again, it's a failure of the filmmakers, where they just decided, we don't need any sequences that are exciting. We don't need any sequences where you actually might care about the characters or worry about the characters. And I think this movie also had too many characters. I feel like Jason Momoa, as much as he's hurling himself into this movie and enjoying his role as a producer, he and Jack Black probably could have been folded together, because they're both kind of doing the same thing, where they're just kind of silly and amped up and obnoxious. And the two female characters, hang on one sec. I guess if you wanted to reduce the head count of the movie, you could have combined the sister of Natalie with Henry into one character, and you could have combined the character of Dawn in with Garrett, played by Jason Momoa, and then you would just had a kid and the gamer and the architect of all the Minecraft buildings and that sort of thing, the notorious Steve. But this movie has way too many characters and almost nothing for any of them to do. They just kind of wander around going like, oh my God, what's that? No way. Oh my God. Like, where are we? This place is so weird. It's completely, totally mindless. Like I said, it's the antithesis of storytelling. But I know there'll be some people out there that will enjoy it on some level, because there was one person in the theater that was giggling nonstop. They loved it. It's like they were biting the bubbles, while farting in the bathtub. They were having the world's greatest time and just chuckling away. And maybe they were recognizing Easter eggs. My attitude always is, if you recognize something in a movie, that does not mean it's a good movie, that you're having a good time. It's just something you recognize. How do you use it? You can recognize a million things in a movie, but it's I think there's some people who are oh my God, I like that reference, that pop culture reference. Therefore, the movie must be good. It's I don't think you understand the function of storytelling, or you've never been exposed to quality storytelling. But in any case, this one person in the theater was having the world's greatest time. So more power to him. I'm thrilled he had a good time at the movies. But as I was watching the movie, I kept thinking to myself, how have we taken so many steps backward since the days of Who Framed Roger Rabbit back in the 1980s, where Robert Zemeckis blew all of our goddamn minds at the time by combining a lot of Disney characters and Looney Tunes characters with live action actors. And it just seamlessly totally worked. And those special effects and the story hold up incredibly well to this day. The music is good. The jokes are good. The cartoon characters are sexy when they're intended to be. Who Framed Roger Rabbit totally works. But when you're watching Minecraft, you're like, why do we need human characters at all in this movie? Because they just look terrible, and the movie kind of doesn't know what to do with them. Or they don't match the movie. They don't seem to be immersed in the actual special effects. And one of the trailers they showed before the movie started was the quote-unquote live-action remake for How to Train Your Dragon, where they've got live-action actors, but otherwise the rest of the movie just looks like the original DreamWorks cartoon, which came out, 15 years ago? It's just re-release How to Train Your Dragon. It's a marvelous cartoon. It's fantastic. It's got so much heart, so much emotion, incredible creature design, awesome music. I love How to Train Your Dragon, but as I was watching, I was like, this also looks like shit. How come that the computer-generated characters and the actors don't seem to be in the same movie? And the same absolutely holds true here in Minecraft, when certain flying sequences and they're battling monsters and that sort of thing. It just seems like you can see the green screen even if you can't see the green screen. But they're not creating, they're not doing the magic trick of allowing the live action and the animation to kind of blend together the way that Robert Zemeckis was able to pull off nearly 40 years ago with vastly inferior, almost prehistoric technology. But that movie had heart and imagination, and Minecraft is just an imagination wasteland. It's a complete and total void of nothingness, and I'll be shocked and amazed if Minecraft players come away from this movie like, oh my God, what a great day. Like, I'm going to go home and play some Minecraft. I imagine they're going to be thinking throughout the entire movie, I really wish I was at my computer right now, just building away and having like the world's greatest time. And I'm just now realizing that I'm kind of breaking a vow that I made to myself before making this video, where I said to myself, I'm just going to stay positive and relaxed and chill, because yesterday I got to make the kind of videos that I like to make. I made a video about the films of Russ Meyer, and I got to do an interview with an animator that I really respect and admire, Bill Plimpton. So I was in a great mood. I felt like a plant that had been watered, getting to talk about the kind of movies that I like all day. And so usually after I've had a great experience making content about movies that I love, then I get less amped up, and I don't reach from a pitchfork quite so readily when discussing a terrible movie. But I feel like right now we're being assaulted on two fronts when it comes to movie culture. We have these bland, lifeless, soulless, just like horribly expensive, empty movie-going experiences that at least are made by human beings. And then we also have the encroachment of AI, where people are basically saying like, oh, AI is going to take over movies and make them like so much cheaper. And I'm like, well, if you can make your own movies in your garage with AI, why are you going to pay $25 to go see it in the theater? Be like, well, my neighbor made an AI movie where he's, getting to play Humphrey Bogart in a sequel to Casablanca. Why should I then pay for the experience? I think Hollywood falsely assumes that AI is coming to save them, when really AI is coming to destroy them. Because once again, why would anybody rent or pay for a movie if everybody has the tools to make equally soulless, unwatchable piles of shit? And what has me particularly amped up on this front is that I saw this giant feed yesterday from this Twitter account that's got over 100,000 subscribers, where he was basically making a case for that particular AI software and how he had improved the entire filmography of Andrei Tarkovsky. And Andrei Tarkovsky, for a lot of people, is like the Russian Stanley Kubrick. I mean, his films like Stalker or Nostalgia or Andrei Rublev or Ivan's Childhood are movie masterpieces. And this guy had basically gone in, and every single shot that was beautifully composed, but still he'd use AI to have him spin around or zoom in or pan around but like every single shot just became overly busy. It'd be like walking into like the Museum of Modern Art and saying, you know what, all these paintings would look better if they were just like spinning on the wall. It's like, that's not creativity, that's not art, and I'm certainly not going to pay for that privilege. And so the question remains, like, where are like the great movies going to come from that are neither AI nor soulless crap like a Minecraft movie? Which brings me full circle back to the reason that I saw this movie in the first place. I wanted to see the extended preview for James Gunn's Superman. And I would argue that the extended preview, it's not as good as the original trailer. The original trailer that came out a couple months ago, I think I saw it 50 times. I mean, for whatever reason, I know a lot of people are, being negative on it. It was giving me just waves of goosebumps and chills, and I was just eating it up with a spoon. This extended preview's got kind of a crummier, less interesting version of the trailer, but it does have that extended preview where Crypto just absolutely melted my heart. So I do have hope that there are still big budget filmmakers out there that can deliver an exciting experience. Like when I see that Paul Thomas Anderson's making a movie for over $100 million, or I see that Denis Villeneuve's making Dune Messiah, or that Christopher Nolan is making The Odyssey. I mean, there are people out there where I remain excited. Or the big clandestine secret movie coming out this summer from Trey Parker, the guy behind Book of Mormon and Team America, and obviously South Park alongside Matt Stone. He has some big giant comedy coming out on July 4th, which apparently has a huge budget and it's going to be wildly controversial. Like, there are reasons to remain excited about movies, but if you see a lot of movies, man, it's just like you just get beaten down, beaten into submission over time. And so if you are excited about the movie, I'm not going to stand in your way. Take your kids to see it, but don't blame me if your kids resent you for it after you've dragged them to see this steaming pile of dog shit. But if I were to try and look at the bright side of this whole experience, I guess when I do my box office breakdown on Sunday, I will have a more informed take about the competitive landscape and what is going on right now. And I need to do a little homework and find out to what degree Warner Brothers is on the hook versus Legendary. This is a Legendary movie, and how they have fallen since the days of making like Christopher Nolan Batman movies and that sort of thing. I suspect that Legendary slap down a massive check for the IP and to make the movie, and that Warner Brothers is just distributing the movie for a fee. But I'll do a little more homework on that front between now and Sunday. But I think at this point, I've said enough. Let me know what you think down in the comments below when it comes to video game adaptations versus playing the games themselves. But I hope everybody has a great weekend at the movies. Remember to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, but more importantly, as always, onwards and upwards.